Unrivaled League needs Caitlin Clark, and they are preparing to offer her a massive.
Since ESPN just revealed another huge article on Caitlin Clark's Unmatched offer, the WNBA is currently in full-blown panic mode. Let's face it, the WNBA saw this coming. Caitlin Clark is the sole bright spot who has been driving the WNBA to unprecedented heights. But what did she receive in return? Oh, a ridiculous $775,000 raise on top of a complete package of physical and racist harassment, all while earning millions of dollars for the league.
Having to move their venues when she comes to play, and she's getting paid like $75,000 a year. She should be one of the top paid players in the world just for the sheer numbers that she's bringing.
However, the Unmatched recognize the worth of a true star and are not only providing her with a safe haven where she will be honored, but they are also paying her for her talent. There will be no more hurtful remarks or disparaging remarks about her skin tone. Let me tell you the specifics. I promise it is well worth the money.
And it has also been reported that Unrivaled 3-on-3 League offered Caitlin Clark significant equity in the league and a salary that is over $1 million.
So, ESPN made the shocking announcement that Unrivaled, a major international league, had offered Caitlin a staggering $1 million for just 3 months. This isn't a seasonal salary. Rather, it's nearly 15 times what the WNBA was paying her for the entire year, and all they're asking her to do is play for 3 months. Unrivaled is essentially saying, hey, we actually recognize talent, and we're ready to pay for it, while the WNBA is over here still acting like she's some newbie on a trial run.
Which brings me to something that I've also been thinking about, and I've told you guys in the past that I do work with the Big Three.
When Caitlin Clark took the court, it was a packed house, and fans were buying her jerseys as if they had disappeared. The following day, Caitlin was a walking, talking, revenue-generating machine, and everyone knew it. She was not just playing, she was running a one-woman show that turned the WNBA into a gold mine. Tickets were selling for the highest price possible, and merchandise was flying off the shelves.
It has been so clear for so many people the Caitlin Clark effect that she has had on the WNBA this season. We have talked about it so much on this channel. She has raised overall viewership.
The worst part is that, despite all of the money she was earning, her real payout for the year was a ridiculous $70,000. Yes, you read correctly. $770,000 was given to the player who single-handedly propelled the WNBA to unprecedented heights. In pro sports, the league was making a ton of money because of her, while Caitlin herself was earning less than some mascots. This wasn't just about selling tickets. She was the face of everyone's merchandise, and when fans turned up for the main event, the WNBA gave her a few pennies and called it a day.
And you're making such a buzz about all of these other players who are joining, and you're just not saying anything about Caitlin, or you're not putting aside whatever millions of dollars need to be had to get her into your league. I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Additionally, she was receiving criticism for her skin tone off the court as well. That's correct. The WNBA had her play in what felt like a battlefield, and rather than standing by their biggest star, they left her hanging. Meanwhile, Unrivaled is not only promising safety, but also establishing the rule that they won't tolerate any of that bullshit. The WNBA was supposed to be Caitlin Clark's big break, her grand stage to showcase her magic to a national audience, but instead it turned into a battlefield. After just 1 season, Caitlin went from being the league's hottest new prospect to a full-on target taking hit after hit. We're not just talking rough play here. This was practically a brawl, and it seemed almost personal from the very first game. Her opponents seemed determined to stop her in any way they could, knowing full well they'd probably get away with it.
The list goes on, but there have been so many players, coaches, media personality who have been so afraid to just admit the fact that Caitlin Clark has been the sole reason for so many of these things happening this season in the WNBA.
Let's talk about the incident that everyone remembers. Angel Reese, yes, that Angel Reese, went straight for Caitlin's head during one of the season's most heated games. We're talking about it without any subtlety or holding back. The crowd, commentators, and cameras all witnessed it, but the referees went completely blind. There was no foul, no whistle, and Caitlin had to just shake it off and continue playing even though she was obviously stunned.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 40.
Then came the playoff nightmare, which drove supporters insane. Once more, the referees simply shrugged, found no infraction, and acted as though Caitlyn was an invisible athlete who didn't require any protection after she got a vicious eye poke, not a light tap, but a strike severe enough to take her off her game and put her at risk for actual injury.
Ain't nobody go for a ball like this and then their hand go down like this. You go to block the ball, you would think she would do this or the poking out like this. How are you going to go for the ball like this and then have your hand come down and hit it right in the eye? Intention.
After all of this, Caitlyn finally reaches her breaking point during one of those extremely stressful times, at which point she lets out her rage and slams as though they had been waiting at this moment. The referees suddenly have excellent vision and call a foul on her after the stanchion. It seems that letting out her frustration on a piece of equipment was a warning sign, but her being literally smashed in the face or poked in the eye was a fine play. This wasn't an isolated incident. Rather, it became a season-long trend that fans couldn't ignore. Consider this. Every time Caitlyn was knocked down, the WNBA hardly acknowledged her. It was as though she were just another player, as if she hadn't brought them record-breaking ticket sales and viewership. Caitlyn was expected to play by a single set of rules, while her opponents appeared to have unrestricted access to pursue her. However, the referees weren't the only ones who dropped the ball either. The league refused to even mention it after that playoff eye injury that clearly impaired her vision. Did they release a statement or express any concern? Nope, everything went as usual. Keep quiet and hope she recovers and acts like nothing happened.
They hate her because she's white, she's straight, and more importantly, she's better than everybody else. Period. End of story.
And that's where Unrivaled comes in. They've been paying attention to what Caitlyn has been through, and they're making it clear that they don't mess around with player safety. They have a completely different approach, with actual rules that protect players instead of letting them get beat up with no consequences. If a player gets hurt, they don't just send a trainer. If it's serious, they have real proactive medical support on standby, ready to go the minute anything happens. We're talking about immediate, top-level care, not a haphazard attempt to bandage them and wish them luck.
It will be interesting to see how well this league does, how much these women get paid, if there are any significant injuries.
But Unmatched is considering what occurs following an injury, which is most likely a novel idea for the WNBA. They're providing players with full-on post-injury support instead of forcing them back onto the court as soon as they can stand. They monitor recovery, provide treatment, and actually make sure they're ready to play safely. Unrivaled isn't just about taping them up and telling them to go for it. They want players to feel fully prepared, strong, and confident before they even consider getting back in the game. Caitlyn could hardly get an ice pack from them after she took hit after hit.
The average WNBA viewership, game, 7,300 in attendance, The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200, they come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300,
Wow.
There is more than just the physical assault. In her first season, Caitlyn was drawing an average of 15,000 fans per game, which is not only impressive, but also record-breaking when compared to the league's average of 7,300 fans per game the previous season. It's evident that Caitlyn was above and beyond. Those 15,000 fans weren't just sitting quietly. They were loud, devoted, and all in. They came to cheer, chant, and wave signs bearing her name, and they didn't leave empty-handed either. Fans were purchasing her jerseys more quickly than stores could replenish their inventory, snatching up every piece of Caitlyn merchandise they could find. While Caitlyn was setting records, Angel and Alyssa had a different perspective. Rather than recognizing the enormous boost Caitlyn was giving the league, they made accusations against the new diverse wave of fans she was bringing, calling them racist. Yes, some of the league's own players were accusing Caitlyn's fans of bigotry. It wasn't about Caitlyn's skill or her game-changing influence on the league. Rather, it was about portraying her fans as outsiders who didn't belong. The Unrivaled is the league where players are praised for their talent, so the offer is going to cause serious panic in the WNBA.